Actually, I might.
Hi, folks. I'm Jamie Hiles.
I'm Lydia Judy.
I'm Derek Lemaster.
This is Screen Bloody Movies, the podcast where we review a horror movie each week and tell you what we think about it. How are you guys doing this lovely evening?
Doing good.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
It sounded like you were in a hostage video just now, Derek.
I may have been.
But there's no reason to not be doing good, because tonight we're going to talk about Tobe Hooper's gonzo space vampire film, Lifeforce. And believe me, we have a lot to talk about.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, we can't show a lot of footage from the movie here on YouTube. At least we can't show a lot of the good parts. Guys, but before we dive into Lifeforce, I want to talk about a little bit of horror news, so to speak. What we're going to talk about today is the Academy Award nominations came out today for the 2026 Academy Awards. And horror is represented quite a bit in this thing, guys.
Nice.
Because we have nominated for Best Picture Sinners and Frankenstein. Both nominated for Best Picture. Sinners broke an Academy Award record this year. It is nominated for 16 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Screenplay, and a bunch of the other technical awards as well. But Frankenstein's nominated for Best Picture. Sinners is nominated for Best Picture. We've got Jacob Elordi. Good God, I can't talk tonight. So we got Michael B. Jordan nominated for Best Actor, like I said, for that film. We've got Ryan Coogler nominated for Best Director. We've got Best Supporting Actress, Amy Madigan from Weapons. Best Supporting Actor, we have Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein. So we are getting a lot of... Frankenstein is also nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Cinematography along with Sinners. Dude,
Wow.
So we got two big horror films nominated for Academy Awards this year, plus Amy Madigan nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Weapons. So that is awesome. What do you guys think?
That is awesome. I haven't seen Sinners yet, and I really want to watch it soon.
No, it has to be... We have to watch it for the show soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since it's nominated so much.
Yeah. I don't recall the last time, maybe it's never happened, that many horror films for, films top honors. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, for that many, I don't remember. It's hard to think about when multiple horror films were nominated. Of course, famously, one of the most famous examples was Silence of the Lambs, which won the big five, Best Actor, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, Best Actress, Best Screenplay. So it won Director, Actor, Picture, Actress, and Screenplay. So that was like the big one. And then of course you had your ones that should have, like The Exorcist should have probably won Best Picture the year it was nominated. And 100% Linda Blair should have won an Academy Award for that performance. But, horror usually gets snubbed. You know what's interesting? Actually, a little tidbit, guys. The Frederick March tied for Academy Award in the 1930s for his performance as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in the 30s adaptation of that property.
Interesting.
One of the first big horror wins. Which, if you haven't seen the Frederick March version of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, we need to watch it because it's fucking awesome and he is incredible in it. All right.
I
just
think
wanted
that
to
was the
touch on
first
that.
one I saw.
It's the best one. It's the best one. The Spencer Tracy one is good. Yeah, the Spencer Tracy one's good. He's Spencer Tracy. He's really good. But that Frederick March one is at another level. I remember watching that in school for the first time and being like, this thing rips. What are we doing?
Yep.
All right, guys. I'm excited to talk about this. This is the first time for both of you guys seeing this thing, right?
Yep.
Yes.
This wasn't even on my radar.
Me either.
So you guys have never heard of Lifeforce?
Nope. Never heard of this movie. Fucking Patrick Stewart is in it.
He is. He pops up.
Pretty sure
Yep.
it's
It's a
Commander.
dude. Yeah, he pops up in it. It cracked me up when he popped up. I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that. So I haven't seen this movie in a very, very long time. This is one of those movies I rented as a teen, early teen, from the video store because I saw the VHS cover, which, by the way, the VHS cover to this thing is awesome, the
Mhm.
poster. So I was like, oh, Lifeforce, this looks cool. And it's like, oh, it's from the director of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've got to check that out. Of course, I've got to check that out.
Hmm.
And then, that was early internet days. I didn't get on and like check reviews on the movie or anything like that before I rented them. I just would rent them. And so I remember being up in my bedroom, putting this thing on, and I'm glad I watched it in my bedroom. I can tell you that.
Fun fact, Jamie had to pay a penalty because he broke the tape. I'm
No, I didn't break the tape. I taped it back together. It was fine. No, this was pretty formative when I watched it the first time. I'm like, oh my God, she's naked the whole time, and she's stunning. This is
Mhm.
crazy. So let's just get it out of the way. Let's get it out of the way first, guys. She's naked a lot of the time. There's a lot of full frontal nudity, and I mean, she's freaking gorgeous, right?
She is a very pretty lady. I didn't
Yes.
know her going into this movie, but yeah, gorgeous.
But Derek is now part of the fan club. A fun
Yeah.
fact.
Yes. Well, they had to cast someone who was a perfect embodiment of femininity.
Sex. Yeah, in sex appeal, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
especially, because of the subject matter. But what's really interesting, what really cracks me up about this movie, and what's interesting is it's kind of a movie in multiple parts. The movie's a bit of a mess tonally, and like there's a lot of clashing ideas. It's based off of a book called The Space Vampire.
Oh, didn't know that.
And this was part of
you didn't know that,
There was a book called Space Vampire? No.
Derek? You named
Obviously, like I
the
mean, the title of this
the
recording was
meeting.
Space Vamps, but I didn't know it was a
yeah,
book.
yeah, it's a 1976 novel by Colin Wilson. So this movie actually was the first in the three picture deal, or the second in a three picture deal that Toby Hooper had with Canon Films. You guys remember Canon, right, Derek? You remember Canon.
Mhm.
Lydia, you know Canon Films?
I think so. Sounds familiar.
Schlockmeisters. Canon Films are the Schlockmeisters, especially in the 80s. So Canon's um, production model was unique to them. So you know how so you would think Universal, Warner Brothers, they would be, okay, this is kind of what we're looking at our slate this year. We're gonna green light these couple films, we're gonna do this. What Canon would do is they would just green light like 40 movies at like $2 million a piece back in the day. And so they'd be cheap productions, a shitload of them. And what would happen is eventually, like if they all even did semi-successful, they'd recoup their money, especially on VHS rentals and such. Well, that was not sustainable. Canon ended up going under because of this exact thing. 'Cause it's not a sustainable model. But they decided they were going to, and what really broke Canon was they wanted to get into big franchise filmmaking. So they bought the rights to Spider-Man, by the way. They had the rights to Spider-Man for a long time till Sony bought them. James Cameron helped Sony buy them and move them to Sony Pictures because he was going to make it. But they're going to do a shit Spider-Man. They already did a shit Captain America. They already did a shit Master of the Universe, which was a lot of money, by the way. I think that budget of that movie was a lot. And they were going to make, or they bought the rights to Superman and made a shit Superman film. So, but this is kind of in Canon's heyday, towards the middle of it, 1985. Like right in like their zenith. And they got a three picture deal with Toby Hooper to make some films. And that three picture deal, of course, was this and then two other films. This is the first of the the three films. There's Invaders from Mars, which we've got to do someday, and Texas Chainsaw 3, which we've already covered and is fucking excellent. So they gave Tobe Hooper a 3-picture deal after the success of what film? Poltergeist. Poltergeist came
There
out,
you go. Yeah.
was a ginormous hit, and they're like, we got to snap up Tobe Hooper. And they signed a 3-picture deal, and they said, Toby, you can make whatever you want. Here's the novel Space Vamps. This is what you want to do. Okay, Space Vampires. Here's $25 million. Go make this movie without any oversight, but you got to make it fast. So we hired Dan O'Bannon and who was it? Dan O'Bannon and Don Jacoby to write this script, and it never quite came together script wise, but they made a movie, and it was not a box office hit. So that's
I
a
got
little
the
bit of the
numbers if you
background
want
to
to.
this.
Yeah, you want
Yeah,
the numbers for this?
I see the numbers. Yeah, go ahead if you want. I was going to
Yeah.
tail them at the end, but
Yeah, so
go ahead.
25 million. You said that. This puppy grossed just shy of 12 million. So
Mhm.
it was roughly about 46% of its budget it made back.
Yeah, I mean it's a hard sell. You know, an R-rated film with full frontal nudity and takes place in space is hard sell.
Part of it.
Uh, yeah. So you guys have never seen this before. So what were your preconceived notions of what this movie was? First of all, did you have any?
I had absolutely no preconceived
I didn't
notions.
know. I didn't think it was going to be about space vampires.
I did not peg that either. Was not on my bingo card.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's very interesting because the start of this thing, you know, you're immediately thrown into space, and I've got to say it. So the music's done by Henry Mancini, who is a very famous composer. Did the Pink Panther theme, you know, the love theme from Romeo and Juliet. He's this kind of classical, you know, film score. A Days of Wine and Roses, The Great Race, you know, a lot of this stuff. So this movie starts, and the theme starts for this movie. And Derek, tell me a few thoughts. The theme to this movie started, and I thought I was watching an NFL films. I thought I was watching NFL films. I was like, is this fucking NFL films? And I was like, this is a very strange. This is like a real big adventure theme, you know, like.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're kind of geared in. Oh, this is gonna be some kind of like adventure thing, and then it takes a dark turn. So I'm saying about like the tonality of this is kind of all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So this the opening, we we see the vamps, the creatures. We see like the bat versions, which by the way, I think look great. I think they're a really cool design. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I agree. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like most of this movie, I was confused. Like obviously,
Yes.
this is self-explanatory because you see the bats, but then you randomly see these like perfect specimens of humans, and you're just like, okay, well, what are they doing here?
Yeah, it kind of makes no sense, and it's
and
confusing.
and this ginormous ship, which I think was organic. So the ship
So
was
yes, the ship is, I think, organic. Yeah, I think
like
it's like a life force as well. And there's a lot of interesting ideas in this movie that
there
just
are.
are hard to explain that are interesting to explore, but aren't explored very well because of the runtime,
Mm-hmm.
and like you have to focus on one thing. So when this movie starts, and we do the time jump, and then the ship lands, and they go and collect the 3 specimens, and she's like just noodling around until Kane enters the picture. You're like, who is the fucking protagonist in this movie? And then when he enters, you're still kind of confused. Is he the protagonist? And then we kind of follow him a little bit. You're like, so yeah, I think he's the protagonist. You know, the British officer. He's our protagonist. And then we're introduced to Carlson, who we see at the beginning, and we're like, oh, he's the co-protagonist. But they're
Mm-hmm.
introduced a little bit later, I feel like, because we're kind of just thrown into this. You think that the one white-haired, like the one doctor, is going to be like the protagonist, and
Yep.
then he's not. You're just like, what? You know, who are we following? Whose perspective is this? So I thought that was really interesting. And I
Yep.
can
I
imagine,
agree.
like, I hadn't seen this movie since I was a kid, since I was a teen. Like, it's been a while. I haven't like, it came out on Blu-ray. I've not seen it on anything other than DVD, I don't think. So this was the first time I'd seen it in, like, HD and shit. And I'd seen bits and snippets of it because I saw that they had the Blu-ray. I was like, "I might pick that up. That'd be pretty fun." But so I was just as confused as you were for a lot of it. I just like I told Derek before we started recording, I had very strong memories of certain scenes. Obviously,
Real strong.
her I had strong memories of her,
Couldn't help it.
obviously her naked walking around is like something you don't forget. And then when when they get their life force sucked out and they're like the fucking skeleton dudes, especially the first one, I remember that vividly. And then the ending, I remembered, like of them mushed together, like making out and the light. I remembered that. But I was like, I don't remember how the fuck we get there. I just remember that's kind of like an image I had of something that happened here. So what, Derek?
So I was gonna say when she sucks the life out of the people, but like when they kind of come back 2 hours later randomly, I guess that's a resurrection. I gotta say that animatronic or what the puppet, whatever they were, like
Awesome.
they look
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, they're awesome. The practical effects in this movie are great. All of those puppets look really cool, especially the way like their eyes dilate and open. They're just uncanny enough that they're like fine. I remember, like, if I would have seen this when I was younger, and the scene where he comes back and he's on the gurney and he's reaching for the dude, that would have fucking terrified me
Yeah.
because that is a really scary moment and really good. I think.
Yep.
Mhm.
What do you guys think?
I think the
Agreed.
only thing that I would've changed is, like, I would've, like, yellowed the whites of the eyes a little bit. The eyes are so white that I was like, "Well, it's" but it did look really like, the animatronics looked really great. But I was like,
I,
the bloodshot eyes would've been, like, taking it to the next level, I think.
I mean, they kind of remind me of the zombie from Return of the Living Dead.
Mm-hmm.
The like that kind of look. I love
Yeah.
when they poke the one and he fucking like it breaks open. And then dude, when they start exploding, that shit is fucking awesome too.
It is
Like
awesome.
that like
That was my
whoa.
favorite part. I wanted more of that.
Yeah, that ruled. So we get like this really intriguing setup and we get these really cool scenes of like suspense and horror. And you're like, ah, that's a fucking Toby Hooper doing his shit there. That's some good stuff. But it's interlaced with all of this like kind of exposition. They're trying to feed us exposition so that way we know what the fuck is going on. But it's not done organically, right? It's not like, I mean, it kind of is, but it feels like it's like, hey, I did some research and I found out this. Hey, I think this. Then, so like how they found out how to kill the vampires, he's just, the doctor's like, oh, I just did it like the old ways. You're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. I felt the lore. I
Yeah.
agree.
Also, when Carlson comes back and he's reintroduced, I love seeing the flashbacks in the space station. That I think that stuff is really cool and like very, like 2001-ish and very
Yeah.
alien because it's
Yeah.
written by the same guy. And it's very paranoid driven and that shit's really cool. Like when he lights the thing on fire and it explodes, that's great.
Mhm.
And I love like all of that. And then we get that dream sequence of him, of her like talking to him and everything. You're just so confused by that point. And then all of a sudden he's like, by the way, I have a telekinetic link to them, which I guess tracks in other vampire lore, when you have like somebody that is connected to their master, right? But it just kind of comes out of left field and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to, like, suspend your disbelief to certain points when you're mixing and matching your creatures and your villains.
It's just kind of like I said, the script wasn't locked in, I don't think. I think this could have used a couple more passes to kind of make it more tighter. I mean,
Mhm.
they're probably running into production date starts and everything. But like there's just some stuff like that. Like, him having the telekinetic powers is not on its face bad because we've seen it in tons of other movies. You
Mhm.
know, fucking the original Dracula. Mina is attached to Dracula. She can see
Mhm.
through his eyes. Like, that's a thing. That's a thing. So I'm like, I have no problem with that in practice, but in execution, I don't think it was executed very well because
Yeah.
we're not kind of explained it well enough. Like he says some lines about it, like, well, she gave me some of her life force and I gave her some of mine, but why? I'm confused as to why.
Yeah.
Well,
And if they
you're
would have
like me and I
explained
love you.
like the shape-shifting aspect of it a little bit earlier, I think that might have also helped a little bit to be like the like, "Oh, this woman is a scary alien, actually," and not
Yeah,
just
if they
like,
would have
"Oh, it's a woman in a capsule. She's
yeah,
perfect," you know?
if we could have had that the I mean, I know they wanted to save it as like a reveal, so it's like like a shock when we find out that she shapeshifted, except that it's not because it's just kind of casually thrown into his vision. Oh, I see her, but
Mhm.
she looks like somebody else. She can jump bodies. It would have been scarier if we were kind of introduced to that, like in a more suspenseful way. If
Yeah.
we're
Mhm.
following somebody, if we just cut to a guy and a woman and you think that maybe they're going to be attacked by her and you find out that she's him and then he has the vision and says, "Oh my god, I see her. She's changed bodies." And then so we get that bit. Also the other two, the male specimens, we think are killed, but they jump bodies to the soldiers, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So you're confused by that, and so then they're out there spreading. While she's not killing anybody, she's keeping them alive, so that way she just doesn't draw attention to herself. They're out there fucking just spreading the disease and turning London into chaos, which we'll get into. But what do you guys think of the scene where they go and interrogate the red haired woman? Because it's super bizarre.
It is
Yeah.
really bizarre. Go ahead, Lydia.
No, I don't know what to say about it. It is just bizarre.
I just wanna know what the direction was on the day. It was really intense, which, by the way, I mean, I think the actors did a really good job. Like, they were
Well, yeah,
in it,
yeah, they
and they
sell it. They sell it.
yeah,
Yeah.
they sell it really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was just like, man, this guy's if you're the other guy, the detective,
Hmm.
you're
Kane.
really
Yeah.
going out on a leap of faith, like, "Okay, I guess this guy knows what he's talking about. He's about ready to, like, assault this lady."
Dude,
Yeah.
he
So,
has a
yeah,
great
it's
line there. He has a great line
oh,
there
his
where he says,
voyeur line.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a natural voyeur. I'm like, "Ee,
That's
yeah, it's a
what
gross,
funny
bro."
line.
that's
Good
I was
stuff.
kind of trying to pick apart, like, the metaphor of this
Mhm.
movie, like, the entire time I was watching it. I was like, "Okay, this is a metaphor for this is a metaphor for this,"
There's no
and I couldn't
metaphor.
keep up.
This isn't a
I couldn't
metaphor.
keep
There's
up
no
with the
metaphor. Not
'cause
all
it's
movies are metaphors. Some are just brainless fucking schlock, which is what this
well,
is.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's I mean, you could see it however you want, really, so it's however you
Yeah.
wanna take it, because I feel like you could if you were trying to pick it apart, and you have a male perspective versus a female perspective of this movie, there was a
That's
line
that's
of
not this movie.
like, it was terrifying, being around, like, the most feminine presence I've ever felt, just like a naked woman. I said, like, "That's just every man's fear, isn't it?"
Not
The
my
most
dude, when he
I
wakes
don't
feminine
up,
think that's a
presence.
fear of mine.
when he had his dream and they were like in the trippy lights and he was like, they were making out and he was like kissing her breasts and everything. He wakes up screaming in horror. I was like, would not be waking up screaming in horror. It's
Right,
like,
and that's why I
my
was trying to
guys, I
figure
had
it
a
out.
fucking great dream.
Yeah, yeah,
Of course, he knows that she's not human and that she's evil. He knows these things. So that's why
Mhm.
he's
mhm,
afraid. But for our perspective coming into it, it's just funny because we're like, that seemed like a pretty damn good dream.
yeah,
I've had
yeah.
worse. Had worse dreams. Believe me. But that scene is interesting to me because I'm just kind of confused by like, so she left the body, but she's blocking the woman from telling her what she needs to know. But the woman wants to be hurt because she's a masochist.
Which is
I
why
can see
she's
into her mind.
in
And you're
that
like,
house.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So all of that is nuts.
Yep.
And then when we get the, when Patrick Stewart's brought in there and we get the whole, that scene, at first I was completely confused when they, like, tranquilized him. I'm like, "What is going on?" He's like, "I knew it was him because he touched me." I was like, "So now he's like John Smith from the Dead Zone.
Yeah.
Now you touch him and he can see
I don't know,
if
maybe
you were a victim."
he felt that spark,
No,
when he
he
touched
says
it.
it in
I
the
know.
dialogue.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying, like, when he touched him, he felt that spark. He, like, I knew it was her, when she touched me on the or he touched me on the shoulder or something like that, either way. Yeah,
Well, he explains it that he
he
has
does.
the, like, when he touches them, like, if it's somebody that's been, like, a victim, he can sense their presence.
Mhm.
And so he touched him on the shoulder. He realized that it was him, so they sedate him. And we get like what's actually a really cool scene in that office where they have him tied down and we get like the
Mhm.
fucking special effects blowing shit around poltergeist style and there's just kind of chaos going on and he's like yelling at Patrick Stewart and like trying to make out with him. As one does to Patrick Stewart, by the way.
Mhm.
What do you guys think of that scene?
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, but it looks great, right? It looks
And if
great.
It
you
does
are
look
that
great.
orderly, there is absolutely no way you do not call security.
I don't think calling security is the issue. There's no way I'd still be in that fucking building, Derek. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
I know,
No
I'm just
one's
saying, I would've been like,
let
"Help,
me call
somebody help."
security. I'd be like, "Well, I'm out." I'd be like old fucking boy from Reanimator, just like, "Well, I'm gonna go read my nudie magazine. I'm out."
It was, yeah, it was pretty
That was yeah, that's wild. And then what is just like that's we get like so he's the tone the mess of this movie is that there's just I feel like a bunch of different movies that he's wanting to make, bunch of different genres of horror that are kind of being thrown in because we get like the space stuff, which is great. We get like the body swapping, like, body snatchers kind of deal, which leads to some really great moments of paranoia and suspense. Then we get the paranoid thriller as well. And then we get like a zombie movie on top of it. So it's just like a lot of stuff thrown out
Yeah.
the
Mhm.
wall.
Yeah.
Some of it doesn't work, but some of it works like gangbusters, I think. Before we talk about that stuff, I want to switch gears and see what do you guys think of our protagonists here? Because I actually like Kane, the detective. I think he's a quite a decent character and the actor is really good, I think.
I agree. I feel like some of his dialogue might make him a little creepy, but he does a solid job, for sure.
No, I think he's really cool. I like the way the way they dress him too. He looks really
Mhm.
cool. Like that jacket and shit. I'm like as I was watching, I was like, I need to fucking see if I can find that jacket. That jacket looks pretty cool. I like that shit. And then what do you guys think of Carlson?
I like Carlson. I like how complex he is in this movie.
Yeah, because he's kind of riding two lines, right? Like
Yeah.
the first is, he's the guilt of losing his whole crew, and then he's a lone survivor. Then we find out that there's actually more to that story, which he kind of
Mhm.
unfolds to us, right? Like, hey, I'm the one that broke the control room. I'm the one that did this because I didn't want him to capture us, but I also couldn't escape her. So, like, I allowed her to kill my men. Like, not just let it, like, go ahead and do it, but he couldn't stop it. He didn't stop it. So he's like, I'm going to destroy them so they don't get to Earth. And then it's like, that didn't work. So I like that he's kind of drawn to her, but also like repulsed by her at the same time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you kind of don't know where his loyalties quite lie.
You know
There's
what
a
else
great
I like
scene where
about him?
what? Go ahead.
And this is just a personal thing, but I like that he's not like the most handsome man in the world. Like I feel
Mhm.
like nowadays every main character is like ultra gorgeous, like unrealistically beautiful person. And this guy is just like actually looks like he's probably an astronaut. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he's not an unhandsome person,
No, no,
you know.
not at all. Like I
He's no
think that
Tom
Yeah,
that
Atkins, I can tell you that.
Steve Railsback. Well, we'll recast somebody with the most handsome man in the world at the end of the episode. But
I just like that he like I like seeing these older movies where people look natural. guess. That's what I'm trying
Yeah,
to
Yeah, I
they
say.
mean
look, fairly normal. They're like,
same could
eh,
be said the same could be said for Kane as well.
Yes,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah.
he's like just a normal looking dude. Peter Firth
Mhm.
is that actor.
Yeah.
And he, looks like a normal dude, has kind of like tight curly hair, it's not like perfect hair or anything. He's just a guy doing his job, right?
Mhm.
And gets sucked into this kind of craziness. Yeah, I think that those characters. I actually quite like the Doctor too. I like that this is set in England, so we get to hear a bunch of really cool accents.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And I
I was
really
doing the
quite
accents
like
along with the movie.
the Doctor as well.
Doctor Who.
Hans Fallada guy, the
Yeah,
the the guy that's figuring out all of the
with the
shit.
white hair.
That's played by, yeah, Frank Finley. I think
Yes.
figures out
he's
how to
quite
kill him.
good. Yeah, I think he's quite good in it. Uh, he's got a couple of really important lines. When he tells him how to kill him, it's kind of funny because they're in a
Yeah.
helicopter and shit. And he's like, by the way, here's how you got to kill him. You're like, and we didn't even get to see it. We just see like the aftermath and him telling him,
Yeah.
this is what you got to do. And you're like, what? All right. Which just lends to like the trying to get this pace going. It's already decently
Mhm.
long. And
Mm.
because what happened is I'd say the first third of this movie is really a slow burn, right?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like this paranoid thriller. It's a slow burn. And then we kind of rush through act two to get to act three. I feel like it's kind of like, yeah, exposition. Here we are, the final conflict. And, I do really enjoy the scene where they meet the prime minister because they're gonna nuke London to contain it because Bedlam has broken out.
Yeah.
They zombies basically running the streets, these undead vampire guys. And so they go and meet with the PM, the prime minister, and he doesn't look very good. It's looking very peaked. And then he goes and sucks the life force out of his secretary. And when they look at each other like he's acting kind of fucking weird, right? And they peek around the corner and see the lightning shit, and they're like, "Let's get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, gotta
This
go.
is a lost cause. He's gone. I really like that scene. I enjoyed that. I thought that was good. Like adds to the paranoia of it. Like they're just
That
kind of.
felt very Doctor Who to me, that scene.
It felt very like Body Snatchers to me. I mean, I think that's
Yeah,
probably the inspiration. Body Snatchers.
for sure, for sure.
And so I was like, oh, that's a lot of fun. And then when they're like, "Hey, we know how to kill him. He can stop him. We can do it before, you set off the nukes. You guys have." So we get a ticking clock, but we don't get a precise ticking clock. We don't feel the tension of that ticking clock. It's not intercut with like the military getting ready to arm the nuclear warheads, right?
Yeah,
Or
we
Mm.
got 3 hours.
or
It's like, well, that's
yeah,
plenty of time.
yeah, that's plenty of time. London's not that big.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
but like
They're
we
like,
should
"We
have
only
gotten
need 2."
like they should have gotten we should have gotten shots of like, missiles being loaded onto jets, pilots getting ready to, you know, go, that sort of stuff, because then we'd feel the stakes. We're like, shit, they're running out of time. Especially with the chaos that the third act is, which by the way, I'm a really big fan of the third act of this movie. I think the third act of this movie is the best part of the movie, besides maybe the first 30 minutes, where we get like this zombie takeover. Because this shit
Yeah,
looks great. This is
it
where the
really
money
does.
is spent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You
We get
see, like,
great.
kind of like a miniature kind of I don't even know what I'm looking at because the effects are so crazy in this,
Yeah.
but they look fantastic to me.
Yeah, because you get like the whole, London burning essentially. You see matte
Mhm.
shots of fucking things exploding. There's
Mhm.
multiple explosions. You see, Carlson goes off to try to find her, and he's in tow. He's leading up the pack, trying to find him. Like where the hell did they go? We've got to find her, and we've got to find him in order to find her. So he goes and visits the old man who tells him to get the weapon, essentially. And then we find out that he's bad, and he's got like this great death scene. Right? I really enjoy this bit. What do you guys think of this scene?
It was good. I liked their dialogue. There's some, like,
There's a
reference back
callback.
to
Yeah.
yeah, there's a callback to the conversation they were having about, is there life after death?
Mhm.
And he's like, "Now I know." So that was pretty nice. But,
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
love his, like, meltdown after he's shot is
Yeah.
really fucking cool.
Mhm.
Like, the bladders under his face start to I'm
Yep.
a sucker for that shit. I'm like, "Yeah, good stuff. I'm a fan."
Yeah. The bullets looked incredible too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the wounds, like, just I mean, they nailed that. I don't know how
Yeah.
they really
Those
did
squib
nail those.
hits, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, they did, and then also, like, him going through the streets when all the mayhem's going on is fucking awesome. That's where the best part of this movie is. It's, like, just total mayhem, and
Mhm.
you see people attacking each other, he's fighting off people, there's that one guy that comes up behind him, he just fucking blows his brains out, and
Mhm.
you're just like, it felt very much like Dawn of the Dead, right? Or Land of
Yeah,
the Dead,
and a
or,
little 28
Day.
Days Later too.
Yeah, it just was just bedlam, and I
Yeah.
was all in on that, and then when because he tells him that, they're in the cathedral, and so he goes to the cathedral, and the one is, like, blocking him in, and he fucking just decides just murks him with that fucking weapon. And, like, this ending is very confusing to me a little bit. Let's talk about first of all, before we do, what do you guys think of, like, the whole zombie section of the movie?
I loved it. I love
Good?
the zombie arm that continues to move
Mhm.
once it's
In the
already in the
car.
car. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty good.
Well, yeah, so at one point, like, the force is zipping around and blowing up buildings,
Mhm. Yeah.
which I didn't quite understand that, and
Well, it looked
then
cool, so you need
it
to
looked
understand.
cool. Yeah, no, it looked
Me too.
cool. There's the scene where he's, like, standing at the base of the cathedral, and the last of the guys is there, and he's, like, standing there just, like, absorbing all the power, and then just, like, gets killed like, didn't put up a fight.
Yeah, I mentioned that scene.
I know, he's just it's too quick. You know what I
It
mean? Like,
was well, I
Actually, I
think
liked a few things about that. One was the effects of
no, the
him,
effects were great.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
especially for the time.
yeah,
but my
and
favorite
the
thing
budget,
about
I
it
mean,
was how the guy, like, flinched when he did it. Kinda like, you know, like a force, like some kind of explosion pushes him back, and then he,
pushes
like,
him back.
when he sees him change into a bat and just, like, completely flinches, like, loses his
Ah!
mind.
Yeah, like, his mind breaks, "What am I seeing?" No, I
Mhm.
agree. I get what you mean, Derek, it's a little too easy, but, we're just getting down to the wire, we just gotta end this
Oh,
thing.
yeah, I
I think
mean,
that's kind of
it's
the
all
thought
yeah,
process.
it
I
was
think that's
already at,
why
like,
it
the
is what it
2-hour
is.
mark.
Yeah, almost, it was close too. Yeah, this movie's an
Yeah.
hour and 57 minutes, the cut that we watched, and then there's also a way worse hour and 40 or hour and what is it? So there's a 116-minute cut, which we just watched. Then there's a 101-minute cut, which would be fucking I feel like would be incomprehensible. No wonder it didn't make any money. People watch this and like, "What the fuck is going on?" Because we watched the full cut and we're still confused on certain things. That had to be an incomprehensible mess.
Yeah. No, for
Like,
sure.
there's a lot of titties. I was gonna say that. But, like, yeah, this ending, what do you guys think of, like, this ending?
It
I have
was
a question.
pretty.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. Yeah, it looks great.
So they're beaming up all this life force back to the ship,
Souls, yeah.
souls. So what is the ship supposed to do? Like, is it supposed to rejuvenate the carcasses that are floating around or store this life force
I
for
think
their next
it's
voyage?
I think it stores the life force
Yeah,
to, as sustenance, basically,
yeah,
to sustain them aboard the ship. I think that's kind of the concept, right, Lydia? Is that what you got out
yeah,
of
I
it?
think that's what I got because it's like what they're like in a comet or something, and they're just like
Yeah,
floating
Haley's
around
Comet.
everywhere.
Yeah, Haley's
Yeah,
Comet.
they're kind of like being pushed by it. They're in the corona, which is kind of
Mhm.
that's pretty interesting in and of itself. But yeah, and the ship is 150 miles long. Like it's kind of some wild concepts, man.
Yeah,
I've just got so many questions, but maybe
Yeah.
we don't need to answer all of them here.
My
Just
my first question would be like, if you went in there and saw that thing, would you be like, "We have to take this back to Earth and study it."
yeah.
A
Well,
giant
I mean,
I
space
think
bat.
they might already be under the influence.
well, to be fair, like
Yeah,
this,
for
you see
sure.
those bat creatures, you would definitely want to because it is, or you'd want to at least some
Scientifically
side sample
fascinating.
because it's, I mean, it's life changing, right? You
I said the
discovered
same
alien
thing.
life.
I said the same thing to Jake. I was like, if I found that, I would be like, "We need to study."
Yeah, because it's a scientific breakthrough. You found extraterrestrial life, and
Yeah.
then if you go in and you see 3 preserved humans, you've got to, like, what does this mean? Have we traveled in space before? What is going on? No,
Mhm.
Mhm.
you would, it'd be irresponsible not to take, them back.
That is the interesting thing about this, though, as far as, like, space vampires go.
Hmm.
You could I don't know why you couldn't have a space vampire without having them be, like, in the form of bats, like how we know, like, Earth creatures to be.
I don't know what that's about. It's so weird. There's a lot of like, I don't know why that's there either.
It's kinda like they mixed lore.
Yeah.
And
Well,
go
They
I've
ahead.
should
not.
have mixed Earth
I've
lore with space lore.
Well, I mean, maybe that's well, it's what it is. Remember, what they're saying is that
They've
our
been here
our
before.
version of vampires
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
based off of these
So
vampires.
that makes
So it makes
that
perfect
makes
sense.
sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense
It
because it
does, except for like, is that an assumption that is made? I mean, and which it's a strong assumption because like, are the
no,
methods that we would kill them, but then how did they go back to
it
space? Like, why did they go back to space?
well, I mean, we don't know if the ones that were here were destroyed.
Right.
If it
Like, it could
happened
have
in
been a
history,
different
it could have been a different
crew?
ship. It could have been a
Yeah.
different crew.
Yeah.
We
That took
do
the
know that
souls and left.
it's not only an assumption, but it's actually confirmed in the film that our vampires are based off of them.
Yeah.
Carlson says he confirms it because he can, read their thoughts and stuff. And he confirms that, yes, mythology of vampires is based off of these creatures. That's where we get like the fundamental rules of vampires, so to speak, right? So that is what it is. But I will say, like, if you're, fucking, you walk in and you see that creepy thing, you definitely want to, and then you see the humans, you definitely want to take them in, see what's going on. But what is confusing is like the end. So, I mean, I guess the end game was to take as many souls as they can, so that way they can
Mhm.
sustain life as long as they need to.
Right. It's
But
just feeding and feeding.
Carlson's Carlson's like part in this is what's really confusing to me.
Yeah.
Because they say that says in there that her and Carlson are now part of each other due to sharing their life forces, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So then it's like, okay, so that's okay, sure.
Yeah.
So now he's with her. So since they're part of each other, they're a package deal, I guess. It's kind of like that Meatloaf song, "Paradise by the Dashboard Lights." That's a
A little
fucking banger joke
well,
if you
and
know that song. That's a banger joke.
I don't know that song,
It's
but
about the song is about Meatloaf in the car with a girl when he's a teenager, and he's trying to hook up with her, and she says, "I'll only go all the way if you promise to be with me for the rest of my life." And so he says, "Sure, yeah, I'll do it," and then he's stuck with her for the rest of his life.
yeah, well, and that's why I feel like there's this, like, underlying metaphor of, like, relationship, like,
I don't, I
they're
don't,
in
I,
kind of a toxic relationship, like, the
I
guy is
really,
like, his bro is like, "Leave her, man, she's just using you."
yeah, I really don't think there's any underlying metaphor to this movie because there's so much going on. I think
Yeah,
they were struggling to make a coherent story. I've never read The Space Vampire, so I don't know if it's even any good. I don't know if it makes more sense than this does. I will say, Space Vampires is a fucking god awful title,
yeah, I
right?
mean, yeah, the fact that they changed it to Lifeforce, it's just like, they were like, "Yeah, that title's never gonna work for a movie like this." Do I
Yeah,
wanna
so
see
it's
that
like,
movie? Yes, but it wouldn't be anything like this in my mind.
yeah, so in the story takes place in the future in the 21st century. So it's like a completely different thing. So it's like a sci-fi novel, it seems like. You know what I mean? Like Dune-ish.
Mhm.
And this is just looking through the synopsis for it. But like this is not that. You know, they've said it in present day. They changed a lot of stuff to make it. It's like, why did you pick this of all? You know what I mean? Like, why was this the subject matter that you were like, yeah, this is what I want to do? But we got to talk about the actual ending.
Mhm.
So it looks like, it seems like in an interview, director Toby Hooper discussed how Canon Films gave him $25 million free reign and then the book. So basically, they were like, hey, um, you know, do something with this book. And he's just like, all right, all right. I mean, I guess it's no different than the, you know, the pitch for Castle Freak. What's that? You can have it. Okay, I'm gonna try
You
it.
can have it. Here you go.
Yeah, here you go. So this ending is like kind of anticlimactic, right? But at the same time, it's supposed to be poignant because he kills the both of them. He kills himself and her, and then their life force joins the ship, and then the ship just flies away.
Yep.
And does the ship fly away because they're dead and there's nobody to control? I don't understand that. What are you guys thinking here?
I think they lived. I think they're alive. I think the ship
Yeah,
and all the souls probably brought them back, and they're just happy together in that ship now,
Maybe.
laying dormant
naked.
till the next space people come around.
Yeah, it's just so confusing because obviously Kane saves the day at the end. He helps them, you know, Carson sacrifices himself to end their reign. It stops the suction of all the souls. It goes back to Haley's Comet and then it's out of here. So we won't have to see it again for another 75. Is it Haley's Comet 85, 75 years?
I think it's
85?
75.
Yeah. So we don't have to deal with it for another 75 years. Um, but it's so confusing to me, and it feels like such an unsatisfying ending because you're like, what just happened? Is that just me? Do you guys feel this?
Nope, not just you.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a wild movie.
You mentioned earlier, Lydia, that it looked pretty, and I will agree. It looks really nice with that light. I love that fucking image of the light, you know, them in that shaft of light. And, you know, that's like I said, it's one of the images I remembered is them just standing naked together in a shaft of light. Like, I didn't remember how we got there, but it's very like kind of flat, which sucks because that whole third act up to that point is great, I think, because it just has forward momentum and mayhem, you know? And then he just tosses the fucking little weapon down to him, and he's just like, all right, well, that's that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe they just died and they just like are just dead together because that's what he
I,
kind of said he wanted in the first place.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of what
It's
it's
like
like, you know, like
I wanted to stay in that ship and burn up with her.
yeah, just wanted to be with her. I need to be with her. She's like, by the way, I'm not really a her. I just created this image out of your memory, you know,
Yeah.
out of what I thought would be the most perfect woman. And, you know, it's like, that's wild. That's wild stuff. That is Life Force, guys. Toby Hooper. Toby Hooper's 1985 Canon film. Excuse me. What do you guys think?
So I think this movie's a bit of a hot mess. The highlights are that I think the acting was pretty spot on. Like you made a mention, Lydia, that these might not be the most well. It's got one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen, but like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
actors were pretty like average, but I really felt like they went for talent for acting.
Mhm.
Like the acting in this movie was better than I expected. I thought the special effects were really pretty darn good, especially for the time. Even like the outer space one, portions, like they're floating
Mhm.
through space and through this ship in their suits. And I was like, hey, you know what? Not too bad for mid 80s. But yeah, man, the story. How could you read that and be like, yeah, let's put that on film? Film was so expensive back then. So I'm gonna give this movie a 5. I also might not be a popular opinion. I see lots of ways where this movie could succeed. I think this is prime for a remake. You could do something with this.
You could. I don't think the public is clamoring for a Lifeforce remake.
You don't know. You don't know. You don't know.
What do you think, Lydia?
Okay. So I think I'm gonna give it a 6 for I feel like it's in the range of like a 5, 6, but just for a little,
Definitely
I
not
don't
a
know.
6, 7.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Kill yourself.
um the special effects in this movie really stood out to me above a lot of things. I found it very comforting and nostalgic to see like these gorgeous squibs like being executed perfectly, and the matte paintings with the miniatures, like everything just looked so nice. And the lighting effects, I don't even know how to describe those light effects, but they were so fun to watch.
Th Yeah, I call them the poltergeist lights, right?
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
that's what they are, yeah.
It's like I need more of that. I need more of that in my life. So I'm thankful that I saw this movie for like just historical reference of effects.
Yeah, and, you gotta watch every movie Tobe Hooper's does. I mean,
Yeah.
it's worth
Yeah.
watching every p one of his movies, good or bad,
Yeah.
because he is a legend, you know?
Yeah.
I am gonna agree with Lydia. I am also gonna give this thing a 6. I think it's a lot of fun. I think that there's some like I said, there's some narrative stuff that's wishy-washy. It's kind of some of it doesn't work, but man, I kind of just like the vibes of it. You know what I mean? I like
Yeah.
the vibes.
Yeah.
Feels like a vibe movie to me. Like as I was watching it, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I like the way this movie feels. Kind of feels like a Hammer movie a little bit.
Yeah.
I like a more modern day Hammer movie. I was like, I dig that. I dig the stiff upper lip Brit stuff. And then I really like that first 30 minutes I think is really strong because you're guessing and you're just confused. You just see this woman walking around and sucking energy out of people. You're like, what is going on? And then it kind of loses its way for a little bit. Then we get like a fucking banger of a third act. And that sucks me right back in. And I'm like, yeah, okay. This is the kind of shit I wanted to see this whole time.
Mhm.
And then I probably would give it a little higher if the ending was better. And if I just understood, like, if certain things made more sense. If we got to things were able to breathe more.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because like structurally, I think the issue, guys, is structurally. I think structurally there's an issue because we go from these great scenes of her walking around the security office, right? And we get that scene with the security officer where she like zaps him and shit. And they're just like, what is going on? And then she blows out the windows and she's off. And all of that stuff is really great because it's kind of like you're thinking to yourself, oh man, yeah, she's real hot. But you're also thinking, how disturbing would it be to just see this, like a nude person just walking around like they don't know what's going on? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then when you try to give them assistance, they just blow up a fucking window. You're like, okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
just never leave my house again.
Yeah. There's a lot of really freaky stuff. A lot
There's
of
a
really
lot of
freaky
good
stuff.
scares in here. There's a lot of really tight scenes, but the structure, like I said, it starts with that, and then it cuts to like the woman in the park, and you're like, oh, she has clothes now, and so I was expecting her to blend into society, and that would be kind of the plot was them trying to track her down, which it kind of is, but it also is not. You know what I mean? The
Mhm.
focus isn't on that. So I just feel like it's an unfocused film, but it gets a 6 for me because I just think it's a hell of a lot of fun. So,
Agree.
guys, it's time to Atkinize this bitch. Who would the great Tom Atkins play? I mean, Carlson probably, or Kane. Either one, right? If he's Carlson,
Yeah,
we could see why she picks him.
100%, yeah. I think he did a good job. I think the actors did a pretty good job. But yeah, I
I think
guess
it
I
would have to
would.
be Carlson because Carlson's American. That
Yeah.
way we wouldn't replace one of these Brit actors.
Yep. Agree.
So I'd say Carlson.
Sorry.
What do you think, Lydia?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Makes the most
Then you couldn't be
sense.
like, you couldn't say they didn't cast the most handsome guy. You're like, man, why did these fuckers cast the most handsome guy?
The most handsome guy. But even
And
Tom Atkins is, like, ruggedly handsome.
yeah, he's rugged handsome,
He's not, like,
but it's
pretty
like,
boy.
no, he's not pretty boy handsome. He's manly handsome. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Uh, yeah. So Life Force. I'm glad you guys got to experience it. It's almost like a first watch for me because I hadn't seen it in so long. So that was a lot of fun. Whose turn is it to pick?
It's mine.
Derek, buddy, what are we watching next week? I dread to ask this question. I always pucker my butthole a little bit when I have to ask Derek what's the next show we're watching.
All right. This week we're going to watch Strippers versus Werewolves.
Jesus Christ, are you serious?
No, we're going to do Sinners.
Okay, thank God. Okay. Ryan Coogler's Academy Award nominated film, Sinners, which is streaming on HBO Max. Is that right, Derek?
Yep, believe so.
Let me double check that for you guys. It is streaming on HBO Max. It is also on Hulu, Roku channel, YouTube TV, Apple TV, Sling TV, Amazon Prime, and not Fubo. So your loss, sinners. But yeah, streaming on all those platforms. So next week, that's going to be a good one. I'm excited for this. This is going to be a first watch for all of us. We will check out Sinners and see what all the hubbub's about. See what all the hoopla is about. All of the rah, rah, rah. See what all the water cooler talks about.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of running out of them now. But we'll watch Sinners next week. So until then, for Derek Lemaster and Lydia Judy, I'm Jamie Hiles. So next week, Sinners. In the meantime, you can follow us on HiLaProductions.com. You can follow us on Facebook at HiLa Productions. Stay tuned after this episode, and you will see the opening scene for our feature film, A Secret Admirer, which we are currently in the process of raising money for. And you will also get some very important news coming up, I would say in the next 2 weeks, regarding the next short that we are making in the meantime. It's a good one, isn't it, Derek?
Yeah. Gonna be a lot of
It's a good
fun.
one. A lot of fun. Until then, for Derek Lemaster and Lydia Judy, I'm Jamie Hiles. Remember, if you're going to scream bloody movies. The new version, I do a blast beat, changing the theme song to like a threat.